Anyway, I'm going to make them stand up. Good evening, everyone.
Don't think we're on yet.
We're on? There we go. Good evening, everyone. Welcome one and all to the Shire of Capel's annual meeting of Electors. In beginning today's proceedings, we wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land we are meeting on, the Wadani people. We wish to acknowledge and respect their continuing connection to the land, waters and community. We pay our respects to all members of the Aboriginal communities and their culture, and to elders past and present, their descendants who are with us today and those who will follow in their footsteps. For those who do not know me, I'm Doug Kitchen and I have the tremendous pleasure of serving as Shire President. I would like to introduce you to your councillors who are present here this evening, and they will stand where they are seated. First, Councillor Ashley Dillon, Councillor John Ferguson, Councillor Christine Tarantroy, Councillor Peter McCleary, Councillor Rosina Mogg, and Councillor Terry Sharp. Apologies have been received from Councillor Sebastian Sciano, Councillor Kira Noonan. Also present is our Chief Executive Officer on my left, and Executive Leadership Team, Ms Samantha Chamberlain, Director of Community and Corporate, who's at the back of the room, and our new Director of Infrastructure and Development, Mr Matt Young, who's up the front. Just a little bit of housekeeping, facilities. I think just about everyone in this room, bar a few, is from Julerup, so I'm sure you know this hall very well. The toilets are back through where you came through and on the left. Please ensure that your phone is on silent, and there are refreshments in the kitchen portico there. You can help yourselves to those any time. Just please bear in mind just to keep it quiet. As always, this meeting is the community meeting. Councillors are present, however, I highly encourage community members to move and second their own motions. I will conduct this meeting generally in accordance with the Shire of Capel's Standing Orders Local Law 2016. If there is a vote, each elector is entitled to one vote. Only electors within the Shire of Capel are entitled to vote at this meeting, so please ensure that your eligibility to vote has been confirmed with Shire staff and you have been issued an orange slip. Any supported decisions made by this meeting will be submitted for consideration by the Council at the next most practical meeting. Could all speakers to either questions or motions please state their full name and the locality to which they reside before speaking to any decision. This is to ensure that minute taking is accurate. Finally, I also wish to advise that tonight's proceedings are being recorded, both audio and visual, with that data to be made available on the Shire's website later this week. All right, record of attendance. That will be everyone whose attendance has signed in. I've also gone through all the elected members and staff in attendance. We'll now move to confirmation of the minutes of the annual general meeting of electors from the 6th of March 2024. Those minutes have been made available to the public and have been on the Shire's website for some time. Can I please have a mover for those minutes? Jeff McDougall. Is there a seconder? Glennis Malatesta. Does the mover wish to discuss those minutes? Anything from the seconder? No. Any discussion from the floor on the minutes? Right. Nothing from the mover to close? All right, I'll put those minutes to the vote. Those in favour? Just keep it raised for a second while we can count.
Just remind people to use that orange slip. Neil's not, neither's Rosina.
I'll just remember to use your orange slip as well. So, All right, and those against? That's carried unanimous. All right, business arising from the minutes. Just a report back on the motions that were adopted by the annual meeting of electors last year. So the first one was a motion moved by Kay Jones, seconded by B James, at the Shire of Capel, in collaboration with the Fire Department Emergency Services, investigate the viability of transitioning the management of the Jalorup Volunteer Bushfire Brigade to the Department of Fire and Emergency Services, and assess the potential for such a change to improve services to the community. A report of the findings of the investigation, complete with an implementation plan, should a transition be recommended, to be provided to Council for consideration no later than the 30th of June 2024. The update on that is the Shire comprehensively investigated the proposed transition of management of the Jalorup Bushfire Brigade to the Department of Fire and Emergency Services. The ordinary meeting of Council held on the 30th of October 2024 considered the information gathered in the investigation and voted not to support the transfer of control. The second motion, moved by Kay Jones, seconded by B James. The Shire acknowledge and support investigations in helping facilitate collaborative arrangements with community, Shire and police to discuss the matters of security in Dalyalup in public spaces that would be appropriate to help make our amazing public spaces even safer. The update on that motion is the Shire of Capel is currently in the process of procurement for the development of a Community Safety and Crime Prevention Plan. This plan will enable the Shire to work in partnership with key stakeholders, such as the Community, Emergency Services and WA Police, to apply for funding and take advantage of opportunities focused on 5 key aspects, being increased community participation in crime prevention, reduced antisocial behaviour and criminal activity, increased community safety and perception of community safety, encourage and promote community pride and interaction, and improve community wellbeing. Currently, a request for quotation has been delivered and has been lodged with the Shire's procurement team for a response by the suitably qualified organisation to develop the plan. Key dates include early April for receipt of submissions and the middle of the year for the development of the draft plan. It is envisioned that the Shire would aim to achieve actions and outcomes as part of the plan in the 2025-26 financial year. And the third motion, moved by H. Benedictson and seconded by B. Hearn, that Council put more resources towards street cleanups, whether through community organisations or Council personnel, for the continuing growth of Dalyalup. The update on that is that over the course of the past 12 months, the Council have approved a new tender for street sweeping and drain cleaning, with the frequency of those cleans increased for all curbside roads. Furthermore, the recently adopted 10-year waste strategy has identified actions that will help mitigate illegal dumping, and the implementation plan will address multiple facets of waste. If I could also expand on this, the Council takes a holistic view to street aesthetics and has begun a tree planting program with interested residents. Over the course of the previous 12 months, there have been approximately 120 new trees planted in residential verges, with a further 200 to be planted in the 2025 planting season. Other key strategic documents, such as the Integrated Growth Framework is being developed this calendar year, will guide future development to complement and build on the aesthetic of an area, which will generally make it look cleaner going forward. All right, so we now move to the annual report, and I'll keep talking. So just, the annual report adopted by Council and has been available for the public. Has been available. There's a number of actions and deliverables contained within that, but just some key deliverables from the 2023-24 financial year that I'd like to highlight. Number one being the workforce plan, with financial support for the 2024-28 to 2028 workforce management plan. These funds were included for the 2024-25 recruitment schedule, which has seen and been targeted towards improving services within the community that the community have been saying for some time, namely in parks and gardens. Regarding project funding, we've also had an allocation of $3.7 million to new projects, including phase 1 of the agribusiness precinct development, upgrade of the lining at Ferndale Park in Dalyalup, preliminary climate change risk management and adaptation planning investigations, the development of a tourism and visitor destination website, funding of the Capel Regional Equestrian Park facilities upgrade, the Ron Mavement Archive collection digitalisation, the development of the Ironstone Gully Falls Reserve Management Plan, cemeteries master planning, delivery of the place plan, and then beginning of the integrated growth framework, delivery of the Jalora Volunteer Bushfire Brigade facility. Within that was also an allocation of $96,778 towards community budget commitments. We also opened the Dalyellup pump track, and a big thing that we also did pass was deregulation of retail trading hours across the district, which has certainly realised some commercial developments. We put $4.5 million towards roads, with upgrades and maintenance being the primary focus. In relation to parks and gardens, $4.2 million was spent in this area for our reserves, gardens and parks. In addition to upkeep and improvements, this also includes a near $1 million investment in pump replacements and refurbishments and controller repairs as part of the Dalyellup Lake system, following some irrigation issues that we had in summer of 2023. Another feature of this is $500,000 being spent on bushfire mitigation activities in our bushland reserves and nature corridors. Okay, so the annual report is there and has been circulated. Can I have a mover for the annual report? Moved, Mr. Brian Hearn. Is there a seconder? Neil Rowlandson. Mr. Brian Hearn, do you wish to move? Speak as mover? Yep. You can have the lectern.
This one. I've got it. Is it on?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh. Thank you, Mr. President. Look, firstly, with your indulgence, can I acknowledge the presence of Freeman of the City, Margaret Smith. Good to see you, Margaret. Yeah, look, I move the annual report. Love the verbiage. I'm glad the financials were uploaded onto the Shire's website last Thursday at 9:37 a.m. And I must say that this document is and I've read thousands of them, corporate, government, local government, it's the only document where I haven't seen an auditor's opinion. And I might add, I've gone through the minutes of the council meeting of the 29th of January, and there isn't an audited opinion. I've loaded the annual report 2324, there's not an audited opinion. I've loaded the annual electors meeting, there's not an audited opinion on that one either. So I would urge ratepayers to acknowledge we've received it, but don't receive it until you know what's in the audited opinion. In fact, through you, Mr. Chairman, can I ask anyone whether they've actually read an audited opinion on this report? Not on this one, no. So in moving it, I want to speak against it, and when it's put to the vote, I hope the ratepayers move to not receive the report until the audit opinion is received. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Neil Olsen.
Thank you, President. I would like to back up what Mr. Hearn has just reiterated. As a CPA accountant myself, I understand the importance of having an audit report as part of your financials. I was also unaware that the financial statements had been uploaded onto the website, because when I uploaded them, there was nothing there. I also went to the Dalyellup Library today to pick up a copy of the annual report. The staff there knew nothing about it. So they then, while I was shopping, printed out a black and white copy and then informed me that I wasn't allowed to remove it from the library. There was no help to me at all.
Are there any further speakers to the annual report? Does the mover wish to close?
No further comments other than Mr. Rollinson's just backed up what I've said. In fact, no, leave it for questions.
All right, I'll put the annual report to the vote. Are all those in favour? Those against? All right, and that is lost unanimously. All right, are there any questions for the annual report? Mr. Hearn?
Glasses. Again, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And as you know from Wednesday night, I've only just got this uploaded yesterday on Thursday morning at 9:27, so you'll have to bear with me with my question. My question is, at June 30, 24, which is the last day of the financial period that we're talking about tonight, the Shire held $7.042 million of surplus funds in its Bendigo bank account at an interest rate of 0%, when the funds could have been deposited at call with the WA Treasury Corporation at an interest rate of 4.05%. Just for this one day alone, that is June 30, 24, and it was a Sunday, the Shire missed out on earning something in the order of $781 interest for its ratepayers, or $1,562 if you include Saturday, June the 29th as well. If you extrapolate out the figures over, say, a 10 or a 20-day period, the Shire is missing out on interest earnings for its ratepayers of up to an additional $15,000 per month or $100,000 per year. $100,000 per year. I have tried to ascertain in the past, and I'm sure you'll recall it, why the Shire holds these substantial amounts at 0%, earning no interest. Can you, Mr. President, provide the meeting with a solid reason, or can the councillors, for investing millions of dollars, in this case $7.04 million at 0%? Are you and your colleagues supportive of this practice of investing millions of dollars at 0%, or are you actually not aware that it's happening? That's the first question.
And the Chief Executive Officer.
Thank you, Mr. Hearn, for your question. I understand that you've asked this question before and the question's been answered by the Director of Corporate and Community, but I'll recount the key points. As you be aware, the Shire has recently changed the way that our budget is prepared and that our budget is presented on a monthly basis. Previously, the Shire's budget has been prepared and presented in its monthly reports in a linear basis, i.e. 1/12 of it, 1 month, next month, next month. Most recently, the Shire has amended the budget to look at it from a profile point of view of when we're actually expecting to expend funds and when we're actually expecting to receive funds. This has been a result of a substantial period of time work around our chart of accounts and working with a number of other local governments. We're now in the position of having a much more accurate understanding of exactly when we're planning to spend funds and exactly when we're planning to receive funds. That has allowed us to take a fundamentally different approach to how much money we hold at hand. We're doing that now, and which also allows us, and we're investing quite a different amount than previously, which is at call with WA Treasury call. So the way that the Shire is now budgeting and monitoring its budget on a monthly basis is allowing us to take a fundamentally different approach than the information contained in the picture. In your question.
Appreciate the response, Mr. CEO. Can I tell you, I have actually taken out the figures for the 6 months to December 31st, and the average amount that you hold on a monthly basis at 0% in the Bendigo bank account is $3.308 million. But anyway, that's a fact. If you like, I'll provide that to you at a later date, but I know that's outside the period of the meeting, but that's in response to your question. So if that's what you're doing, you're still holding millions at 0% in the Bendigo bank account.
Probably just to clarify on that one though, around that time of year is when we are predominantly funding our capital works program and road upgrades schedule, which is when that cash is largely needed to be expended.
Which time of the year are you talking about, Mr.
The
President?
December period, as you mentioned.
Well, the period you're talking about, if you really do want to know, I can tell you that your cash inflows for the first 6 months of the year are 1.1 million more than your cash outflows. So it's not right, but you can check that. As I say, it's outside this meeting because it's referring to 24-25.
Yeah, but
if you like,
that's to do with timings, Mr. Hearn.
Sorry?
That's to do with timings.
That's
So
not-
we can
that's not-
expect when timings, we can plan for when cash is going to be expended. It might not necessarily work out that way, but we need to make sure we've got the cash on hand to pay those invoices when they come into the local government.
Mr. President, if I may, and I thank the CEO for answering the question previously, but when I've asked this question on a previous occasion, I did ask how long does it actually take to transfer funds from the Treasury Borrowing Authority, where they're held at call at 4.03, now 4.50, to the Bendigo bank account, and I was told 2 working days. And I think I then asked the question, how do you pay your bills? What cycle? Do you pay them 7 days, 14 days, 28 days, monthly, daily? How do you do it? I didn't actually get a response, but let me tell you as an accountant that any organisation pays their accounts normally on a 25, 15, 10-day cycle, and you're dead right. Your monthly reports now highlight what the expenses are what your expenditure is for the next month, in 30 days and 6 days. I know that. And I've taken out the statistics for the second half of the year. And
Is there a question here, Mr. Hearn?
well, yeah, I'll give you the question. I've got 4 questions. These are them, and I'll hand them in. Question 1: how much did the Shire forego in interest revenue because of its decision to invest $7.04 million in the Bendigo bank account at 0% on Saturday, the 29th of June 24, and Sunday, 30 June 24? That's the first question. Happy to take it on notice.
Yeah, we'll take that on notice.
I'll hand them in anyway, so don't worry. The second question is, during the month of June 24, how much interest revenue was foregone by holding funds in excess of $200,000 in its Bendigo bank account, rather than investing the balance of funds held at call with the WA Treasury Corporation at an on-call rate of 4.05%? That's the second question. Very easy to work out. Third question: why did the Shire, on July 4, 2024, invest $1.655 million for near on 90 days at a rate of 3.54%, when the funds could have been invested at call with the WA Treasury Corporation at 4.05? A mystery. Question 4, and I'll explain this later: can the Shire examine the opportunity to report on a monthly basis the weighted average interest rate that it receives from cash held in the Bendigo bank account at 0% and funds held at call with the WA Treasury Corporation? In June, it was about 1.49%, but can you investigate that? And also, can the Shire report on a monthly basis the weighted average interest rates for its funds held in the term deposit account? And that'll be a tick, because it's usually pretty good, other than that 3.64%, which is a mystery. So they're the 5 questions. In terms of the weighted average, right, I'll say this.
Sure,
If you,
thank you,
Mr.
Mr. Chairman. We've got those questions. We'll
Yes,
take them on notice.
I just want to refer to the weighted average, if I may, because
Quickly.
yes,
It is.
if you, Mr. President, or any councillor or any staff member are interested, I can provide you with the documentation where a local government reports regularly its weighted average interest rate for the cash and cash at call held for its term deposits, and for its cash at call and cash at zero. Until this is actually done, no one is going to realise how much they're missing on. So
Sure.
that's a document. If anyone wants it, come and see me after the meeting and I'll show it to you. I just hope someone picks up on it, because we're missing hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
Thank you, Mr. Hearn. Are there any further questions to the annual report?
I have got other questions, but I'm that frustrated, I just don't want to get angry solely.
Mr. Hearn, please be respectful of meeting proceedings. Are there any further questions to the annual report? No, we'll move to questions. Sorry, Judy Hearn? Questions received from the floor? Yep, sure. But I've got a few on notice first. The first from Mr. Glenbone of Jullora.
Thank you, Mr. President. Excuse me. Thank you. This was a question that I emailed this morning to the Shire. The question is, with regard to the Shire's bushfire mitigation notice, would you please report on the following actions for 2023-24 and for 2024 and 25? The number of work orders issued, the number of infringements issued, and the number of infringements that might have been withdrawn.
Thank you, Mr. Bone, and thank you for providing the question on notice so we can provide you an accurate answer. In 23-24, the number of inspections was 2,780. In 24-25, it was 3,402. The number of work orders issued in 23-24 was 47. In 24-25, it was 57. The number of infringements issued in 23-24 was 40, and 24-25 was 43. The number of infringements withdrawn in 23-24 was 12, and the number in 24-25 was 11. In 24-25 season, 11 infringements have been withdrawn for re-inspection, but the program is not yet finalised, so that number may change.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bone. M&G Briggs, Jalorup.
Can you state your name, thanks, and your location?
Yeah, just a minute, thank you.
I'm Maureen, this is Graham Briggs from 7 Turret Court in Jalorup. You actually had the question and I stand by as I wrote the question. I
Yes.
don't have a copy of it.
Do you want me to read it out for you?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
sure. So the question is regarding excessive noise from the William Wadandi Highway. After several emails from the complaint of the Shire to the main roads, the last response from the Shire said that the Shire intends to expedite post-opening noise modelling of the William Wadandi Highway. Our question is when and where will this monitoring be conducted, and will results be published and mitigation steps taken?
Correct. Thank you,
Your
Mr.
question?
President.
Yep.
Yes.
The response to that question is the William Wadandi Highway was planned and constructed under a development control area by the WA State Government. The Shire only has responsibility for any part that sits outside the development control area. Noise impacts from the highway is not covered by Environmental Protection Noise Regulations 1997 in this space, so the Shire's environmental health team does not have jurisdiction. The Shire has been advised by Main Roads WA the expediting of the program for the Shire has been advised by Main Roads WA that they are expediting the program for post-opening noise modelling. Any impacts regarding noise from the highway remain a matter for Main Roads within the designated control area. Outside of that, that's our responsibility.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Do you have anything to add to that?
So is there a plan of the designated area?
Yes. Yep. We can. I'm sure I've got your details, but we can before the meeting, when the meeting's over, we'll get your details and we can manage that for you.
Will the results of those noise findings be published?
In terms of what we have control of, I'll ask the Director of Infrastructure and Development if he wants to comment on that. Depends in a general space, we probably could, but if it's related to individuals, it's largely a matter for the individual. If they want to share those results, that's up to them.
Right.
And I can't comment on behalf of the state government on how they might deal with it as well.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And the next question, Mr. Brian Hearn, Peppermint Grove Beach.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can the President confirm that in accordance with Section 1 of the Local Government Act 1995, 14 days local notice was given of the availability of the annual report, Section 5.55, and the date, time, place and purpose of the annual Electors meeting, Section 5.29, being held tonight? Can the President confirm that in accordance with Section 1.7 of the Local Government Act, that a local public notice was placed in a newspaper circulating generally through the district, exhibited to the public on a notice board at the Shire of Capel's office and on the Shire of Capel's website and social media, and 3, exhibited to the public on a notice board at every local government library in the district.
Thank you, Mr. Hearn, for the question. Yes, the annual electors meeting advertisement met the requirements of local public notice as described by the Local Government Act. The meeting was published on the Shire's official website, the South Western Times, the Shire's social media and the Shire's notice boards. However, we did have in one instance where a Shire library in Dalyella did not publish the advertisement on the community notice board within the required 14-day period. The Shire and myself separately have checked with both Walga and the Department of Local Government Sport and Cultural Recreation Compliance Division. This is considered an unintentional non-compliance, and the annual elected meeting is not impacted and can proceed as advertised and scheduled. The Shire has every intention of meeting all the requirements of the Act, and as such will be formally notifying the Department tomorrow of its unintentional non-compliance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Hearn. They're all the questions I've received on notice. Are there any questions from the floor? Suzanne, yeah, I drew a blank then. Just please restate your name and locality for the record, please.
Suzanne Hunter, 6 Greendale Place, Jullora. And here representing myself and Strong Angels charity.
Sure, thank you.
My question is, last year I was on a committee for that vacant lot that's opposite the high school for the shed that was proposed for there. And I attended many meetings, and from what I understand from the meetings, that was going to be built in 2025. And I'm just wondering if it's still going to be happening. We have got Dalyellup College on board now, Newton Moore and Dalyellup Ed Support Units as well, and they're waiting because they would like to be involved with our charity and do the sorting and hopefully reduce a lot of the waste that's being thrown out, especially along Dalyellup when you drive around and see clothes and toys and everything that are there. So we're just wondering if the plan is still going to happen.
Thank you for the question, Suzanne. I'll pass to the Chief Executive Officer.
Pardon me. Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Hunter, for the question. Since that meeting occurred, Shire staff have looked at the vacant lot on Wake Drive, which is across from the college that you referred to, and we've had some preliminary plans drawn up that we received just recently, looking at, I guess, the layout of the lot itself, the number of community groups that might want to have access to a facility there, how the facility might be designed and fit on the lot. So we have progressed to that stage. We've only recently received those plans. I actually had a conversation with a local member from Bunbury just last week who had obviously received some communication from yourself or someone else as well. There is a fair degree of interest in looking at seeing whether or not the community facility can go ahead. We're now looking at just finalising those plans and getting some idea of cost. There is some modifications that would be required with the management order that's vested with the Shire from the state government because it is Crown land. So there's a little bit of work through our planning team to do there as well to enable all of the community groups that might want to use it to do exactly what they want to do on site. There's a little bit of some restrictions there at the moment, but it is something that we have progressed to some draft designs, and we're looking at costings now, and we'd be looking to see whether or not that can be accommodated in at least the budget considerations for the upcoming year. Obviously, it's still a matter for council to consider a whole range of different projects and adopt a final budget, but it is something that we're currently working towards presenting to council.
Your Honour, I thought I saw your hand up.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 3 questions to put to the council, and I have 2 motions to follow up later on when they come up for. Will the Shire of Capel undertake to complete and implement a fair and unbiased review of the Bushfire Brigade boundaries so as to give the Jullora Brigade a greater share of the Shire's area? Currently, we are limited, that is the Jullora Brigade, is limited to an area north of the Bunbury Outer Ring Road and east to Lilydale Road Southwest Highway intersection. As the majority of Jullora is now included in the gazetted fire district, it would be logical that we now include the area to Callinup Road, Grevillea Road and the northern half of Stratham. The request was put to the Shire by myself in October 2022 to the previous Director of Infrastructure, Tanya Gillett, and again we were given an undertaking by the CEO in a letter on the 6th of February 24 that a review would be undertaken. These promises are yet to eventuate. The Jularup Brigade is well resourced and able to respond to service a greater area of the Shire than is currently allocated. Response times to central Stratham are 2 to 3 kilometres closer to the Jularup station than Elgin and 2 to 3 minutes shorter in time. This would be far more advantageous to the residents of Stratham.
Thank you, Mr. Rollinson, for the question. As the Shire has committed, we will undertake that review along with BFAC, who will lead that process. Those workshops are planned for March this year.
Okay.
And that will commence that process.
Because it's been going on for 2 years.
Yes, but the commitment was that we would wait till the opening of the William Wadandi Highway so that the local road network was fully understood and we could get an accurate depiction of travel times along those roads to ensure that a proper and unbiased review is undertaken.
Okay, and we got an email from the CEO on the 6th of February saying that the review would be undertaken and implemented before this current bushfire season.
No, Mr. Rollinson, if I can just correct you, when the expansion of the Deputy Chief Bushfire Control Officers occurred and when the establishment of the new designated areas occurred, the agreement that was reached through BFAC at the time was that we would leave that arrangement in place for 2 full fire seasons. That has only recently been or being completed now with this fire season. As the Shire President said, the review will commence in March with the intention to take any recommendation, and as you identified in your question, in that time the gazetted fire district has changed. So the review will be undertaken over the next month and a half, and those recommendations will go to the BFAC meeting in April.
Okay, and will the Jularup Brigade be allowed to have any input into that inquiry?
All captains and current Deputy Chief Bushfire Control Officers will be involved in the review process.
Okay. All right, my next question is, the Bushfire Advisory Committee currently has nominated representatives from each brigade within the Shire. There is no provision for the brigades to nominate a proxy in the event of our nominated member is unable to attend BFAC. The Shire has enabled itself to have a nominated proxy, so why cannot the brigades be given the same opportunity?
Thank you, Mr. Rawlinson. As we've previously explained at BFAC, previously the terms of reference for the Bushfire Advisory Committee did not allow brigade representatives to have a proxy. We have recently taken an updated terms of reference to Council, which has been approved by Council, which, following the next AGMs held by all brigades, will allow brigades to nominate proxies.
Thank you. At the annual general meeting in March 2024, a motion was put to Council that the Jularup Bushfire Brigade transition to the management of the Department of Fire and Emergency Services, DFIS. This request was put to Council at their October meeting and rejected. Would the Council be prepared to reconsider this request? And more importantly, the most important question, what is the principal reason as to why the Shire is opposing this move?
Thank you, Mr. Rollinson, for the question. Council's reasons were outlined in its reason for refusal regarding wanting to preserve what it believed to be the best outcome for the community in terms of safety and well-being. And that was relating to the information we received in conjunction with Department of Fire and Emergency Services. But Council is open to review if there's necessity to warrant that. All right, are there any further questions from the floor? Ms. Judy Hearn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 2 questions, and they're basically to do with communication to the ratepayers and looking around at the very quality group we have here tonight, but the small numbers, I think you will understand why I wish to raise these questions again. The minutes of the 2020...
Sorry, Ms Hearn, just hang on a second.
Where's Margaret gone?
Is Margaret still here?
No, she's gone out. She's left. Gone outside.
Okay. All right. Sorry, Ms Hearn, if you'd like to continue.
It's all right, upstaged. So the minutes that were presented here tonight for the 2024 meeting included a brief feedback on the motions that were passed by the community at the 2023 annual electors meeting. I think there were probably 10 voting members at that one. And specifically, the motion that the council promptly implement a practice to utilise the street side community notice boards to advertise the council meetings and events. And the minutes record something to the effect that the decision of the council relating to the use of the roadside community notice boards and includes the proposal as part of a review of the Shire's communications strategy where applicable. So bearing in mind that 2 years have now passed since the community passed that motion, requesting this method of notification, what's been the outcome of the 2 years' consideration of the 2023 request that the Shire promptly begin to utilise the street side community notice boards to advertise council meeting and events?
Thank you, Ms Hearn, for the question. Since that time, Council has adopted a new communication strategy. As part of that, it was included that the street side message boards were included. However, some of those message signs aren't managed by the Shire of Capel directly. We do provide the messages to the community groups that are managing them, but it is up to them to choose if they decide to display that message or another message they may already have booked with other community groups.
Okay, at the meet in 23, it was said that it would be included when there was a review of the communication strategy. I don't think there has been one yet.
There has been a review.
Well, it's not published.
It should be on the Shire's website.
Well, I think, have a hunt, I don't think it's there. But notwithstanding that, it doesn't seem to me to be such a monumental issue. So my next question was, were the community notice boards used by the Shire to advertise this annual electors meeting tonight?
The message was put to the community groups, as far as I'm aware, and it was up to them to choose whether they advertised that message.
Do you have a method of checking whether it was put to the community groups?
I will ask through the CEO, can check that through our community group.
And
We'll take it on notice, but
yeah,
we'll ask our
excellent.
communications team to clarify
Excellent. And are you aware of other occasions on which the Shire has placed on street side notice boards any notice of meetings or consultations?
I am aware. There was recent consultations held in Bournemouth regarding the dump point, and I did actually physically see those advertised on the message board.
Great. And there was one in Peppy Beach about the consultation last week about the vision.
Yes.
And I bring it forward because it would be very encouraging to you to know there weren't many people who could arrive at 10 a.m. for that meeting, but it has raised a lot of conversation, which is exactly why the motion went forward.
Another example from Peppy Beach would be the traffic calming workshops that have been had in the community. I have seen those advertised there in the past. There is another one coming up on the 12th of March. I believe that message has been provided to the group that's managing the board. Whether they advertise it, those up to them.
So as a supplementary question, is there anything you can do to advance this use with the communities?
Potentially, we'll take that on notice though,
Thank
see if
you.
we can have more of a discussion with those community groups on that
Okay,
usage.
because my next question, has the Shire established the procedure so that this avenue of open just-in-time information that is picked up by all passers-by can be optimised and regularly used? And also, which is the same question, number 4, is there anything standing in the way of Council and Shire informing the community via street-side notice boards of extraordinary meetings, or anything that you could see would be at odds with the principles of the Shire communication strategy?
there's nothing really that stands in the way. As I said, those message boards aren't under our control. It's up to those that are managing to put that message up. As I've just committed in the previous question, I'm happy to have that discussion with those community groups to see if there is a way we could incentivise them more to publish the Shire's message above other groups. But we are looking at alternatives. As part of the last budget, the Shire did purchase a variable messaging board. We are looking at potentially getting a second, so we can have multiple throughout the Shire, mainly for emergency issues or when we've got local construction works under that the Shire is managing to better get the message out of any detours or road closures.
That's excellent news, and I'll look forward to seeing those on a board near me. My other question arose from something I did read in the annual report, the reporting on achievements from your strategic community plan, one under relationships, which stressed effective communication, engagement and relationship development, saying that you have continuously improved the Shire's website and other communication channels to ensure information is easy to find and services effectively communicated, and under people, that you have established and published a calendar of events. I was delighted, as you can imagine, to know that that has happened. And I was then, on exploring, disappointed to be unable to find any mention, small or large, explicit or contextual, or any link to this calendar on the web page front page, or even to find any operable link at all to the calendar from the Shire's Facebook page. On the website, I did fill in how can we help you search function, and it can only direct you to a document title as part of a list which produces a 404 error link. However, on a roaming exploration, opening the drop-down menus of all sections at the top and left toolbars, finally I found a What's On subheading under Community, where a careful reading of the page that opens finds a small calendar right-hand option among the 3 formats offered. However, then each month must be operated and opened separately. And sadly, beyond February, there were currently no other forthcoming events, dates or meeting listed for the whole year, besides one lonely entry each month for the regular ordinary council meeting. However, this afternoon, a notation went up about exactly that traffic management consultation in Peppy Beach. So there are now the council meetings and one. There's nothing to do with dates of green waste or hard collection, and not an entry for this meeting, and not even a mention of the Captivate Capel, which is coming up. So, by default, this calendar emptiness presents a very sad picture of what actually belies all the activities that go on in Capel Shire. So, aimed at improving user friendliness, number 1, can and will the Shire make the existence of and a connection to the calendar an obvious option on the opening screens of both its online platforms, allowing community to easily check out, for example, that wonderful question of when's the hard waste collection or when this meeting is being held.
Thank you, Ms Hearn, for the question. I suppose, like in all things local government, we can always do better, and communication is certainly no exemption from that. We'll take that on notice and see what we can do to improve that and get that calendar more in the forefront of the website.
Excellent. So the second question, will the Shire then make available to the public and enter the dates of committee meetings of council and the OCM agenda briefings so that anyone with an interest in a particular issue currently under discussion might make timely contact with councillors?
We can, yep.
Can the Shire establish a procedure that ensures that the following sorts of entries are regularly entered, preferably for the year ahead, not the week ahead? The annual Electors meeting, community consultations, surveys, opening and closing dates, important regular events like Australia Day Awards, and citizenship ceremonies and celebrations and openings, for example, of the Ironstone Gully Trail. The Volunteers' Breakfast, the Hard and Green Waste collections, in-zone and youth events, and I have noted that the in-zone people did make several entries in January, so they are to be applauded. Seniors events, Shire feature events, Captivate Capel, which, as I said, is missing in action. It's not even on the Bungeo upcoming events post. The Christmas event in Daliella, events ratepayers make contributions to and support through Shire financial sponsorship. Significant events like the CWA anniversaries and others, road closures and planned road works such as the Capel-Tuttenup Road reconstruction, administration public holidays and other closures, prohibited burning periods and fire break details. And please don't stop there if you can think of some more.
Sure.
And it is of note that there is a protocol attached to the calendar, which I applaud in all ways. It's a process by which agencies external to the Shire administration can add appropriate event notices. It's a valuable addition to the calendar.
Thank you, Ms. Vernon, for that. That's a big question, but yeah, we can certainly look into it. So we'll largely take those actions on notice and provide a response in the minutes.
Margaret.
All right.
Margaret's got a question.
Yep. Any further questions? Yep.
Graham Briggs, Tarrant Court, Jalora. It's one subject, but 3 questions. The Jalora Bushfire Brigade has recently been asked to sign a formal lease agreement. What is the intention of this requirement, is question 1. Which other community groups are being asked to formalise their property leases, is number 2. And number 3, will there be a cost for this tenancy?
The Chief Executive Officer.
Thank you, Mr. Briggs, for the question. Our governance team has been working its way through a review of all of our old leases and updating our leasing framework as a result of the fact that many of the Shire's leases have been in place for many, many years, and they're inconsistent across the Shire depending upon the community group that they're with. So we have been updating that, we have been formalising and I guess making more consistent our lease arrangements with every group. We do have either hire arrangements, occasional or permanent use arrangements or lease arrangements with a range of community groups, including the Bushfire Brigades, sporting groups, community groups and even groups that use this hall. So it is something that our governance team have been going through and completely updating. We're still working our way through that. We've probably got a few months to go, but our intention is for all of the groups that use Shire community facilities are on more formal arrangements. We're looking at the cost structure around those, and they will ultimately be presented to council for council adoption. But we're looking at it having a very reasonable rate for community groups, a different rate for what we would call semi-commercial, whereby a group has a significant capacity to raise revenue and take on more of the maintenance and asset care of the facility itself. An example of that might be, say, the Capel Country Club, as an example. And then a strictly commercial rate where a venue is hired by a commercial organisation. So that'll ultimately be presented to council in the next few months, and council will decide the fee as part of its fees and charges schedule.
So will there be a fee for non-profit organisations?
There may be a small annual fee. Remember, back in the day, I think community groups used to be charged a peppercorn. You can't charge anyone a peppercorn anymore, but it is a very nominal fee. Ultimately, that'll be a decision for council.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, CEO.
Thanks, Mr. Briggs. Any further questions from the floor? Mrs. Smith?
Okay, I won't use the mic if you don't mind it.
Oh, sorry, we need it just for the audio recording. But we've got a roaming mic if that's easier for you.
Make sure it doesn't work. Okay, sit. I apologise about Madam while I went outside. Okay, my biggest issue is the info to the public, read these meetings and so forth. The Jularup Management Committee Inc. didn't even get notification. I was talking to them today about the meeting tonight. And a lot of oldies, and owing to the fact that Jularup and Dalyalup have bad, what do you call it, with the internet and so forth. Some days you're on, some days you're not. So consequently we're missing out. Now we had perfectly good, and I know Capel Shire's got one in the main street, and I think Elgin Hall's got one some down there. The signs out the front, and what's his name? He used to be with the Fire Brigade. Justin Raab used to look after it, and the Shire'd ring him and tell him what signs to put up, and that worked very well. So I think we need to look at getting those signs back in for my age group in particular that don't play with computers morning, noon and night, because we don't. We've got better things to do. And the other thing is, I've been working with your community group to do with the community and what communities need, and I take my hat off to them. They're very helpful, and I'm getting on quite well with them, thank you. And the biggest thing that's happened it affects both Dalyalup and Jularup is the garage has got rid of the post boxes, and it's got rid of the banking and the postal service down at the Caltex garage as we know it. And that is causing lots of mileage for people and lots of heartache. And if you drive to Bunbury to go to your bank, 90% of the time you can't find a parking place. I've been going to Capel, which is a bit of an effort down the highway, of course. But I think it's something we got to look at, either put something here in the plans we're proposing to what's going to happen here, we hope, when we find out what the land can be used for, or into, I don't know what you're going to do with the library at Dalyalup when you shift it and you build your new one. Perhaps we should look at doing it over there. The newsagent over there is trying to do the postal side, but it's far too big for him and he can't do the banking side. But it is for people with disabilities and that, it's all very inconvenient. So I think it's something that Shire could earn big brownie points if they looked at the issue. And I don't know of any vacant shops that you could hire or buy or anything, because they're all too overpriced anyway. But I think we could look, I've got an idea for here which I've spoken to the committee about, that would bring that back in and make it more accessible and safer for everyone. So thank you very much, but we just need to kind of get our meetings more, that we know they're on. I'm sorry, but thanks to bad internet, bad phone receptions, we don't get all the info this end. So I think we go back to basics and put our signs back on the roads like we had it, like the one over there. Because, and everybody put up what they wanted to do with the community that you're in. So thank you for your time and thank you for your good work.
Thank you, Mr Smith, for the question. I suppose just about the first part around communications, as I stated earlier, that the advertisement of this meeting was in accordance with the regulations, but as I also had answered with to Mrs Hearn's questions, we can do better, and we'll take those questions on notice and see how we can improve our communications. Our communication strategy is actually up for review this financial year, I believe. So,
It's just modern technology.
yeah, but as we did, and I do acknowledge there are other mediums we could utilise. So, as part of our next communication strategy review, we can certainly have a look at that. In relation to your second question around the PO boxes, I believe the Chief Executive Officer met with Australia Post fairly recently, and he can provide some information on that.
Thanks, Your President. Thank you, Margaret, for your question. Yeah, I've been in direct since the Dalyalup service station facility closed. I've been in contact with Australia Post on a number of occasions, and there has been a number of proposals put towards Australia Post from different operators around, trying to, I guess, restore the service around Dalyalup and Jularup. Australia Post, let's just say, have some very frustrating conditions that have been very difficult to meet. but we're still working with them. So as I said, I've spoken to Australia Post on at least a couple of separate occasions to see what we can do, and there has been proposals put to them, which I think if we all looked at them, we'd find them eminently reasonable. But the challenge at the moment is working within the conditions that Australia Post put.
Mr. Bone, you had a question? Yep.
Thank you. This is another one concerning the bushfire mitigation notice, and in this case it's for 2024-25. A bit of background. Both council and staff would be well aware that I have made numerous complaints in recent years